Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of In the School Parking Lot. I'm your host, I'm Paul Everts. I'm recording this on the 9th of November. It's 1:30 p.m. from Roseville, California. Just a brief 30-second introduction. I'm a retired teacher, started teaching in 1989. My last day teaching in the Placer County area, which is Northern California, was December 20th, 2021. Part of the reason why I left, just so you know, it's an introduction, so calm down, you one person that gets so upset. Is because I was told to leave Jesus Christ in the parking lot. That was a directive. Another directive was you can't tell your students I love you anymore, and then get off social media. Okay, that's it. I'm not angry. It's just a fact. So calm down. There's like one person gets so upset. You're funny. Anyway, so the idea is that now we're in the school parking lot because that's where Jesus Christ was told to go. Now, I'm not Jesus. Well, I was told that's where Jesus is. So I said, you know what? If that's where Jesus is, I think Jesus is everywhere. But I'm going to go with the parking lot because that's what I was told to do. All right. So I give you a story that I've seen, and then I read you a chapter out of this book, which I love very much. And I'm not going to finish the book, but this is the book we've been working out of. I'm going to start reading The Marxification of Education by James Lindsay. That's a good book, so I'll probably just do a couple pages out of that today. But please buy this book. It's a really good book. I don't get anything for the book. I just like the book very much. And to all you new teachers out there, just realize you're only getting one side of the story. Okay, there's that. All right, here we go. Episode 36, November 9th. Today's headline is Unsustainable Spending, Declining Student Enrollment may force closure of 1 in 10 San Francisco schools. This is an older story. This is October the 9th, 2024. And again, today is November the 9th. So the story is San Francisco proposed eliminating 9% of its public schools as declining enrollment and the expiration of pandemic era relief funds fuel a yawning budget deficit. You know, here's the deal. There's always a reason that is not the reason. No, I shouldn't say always, but it feels like that. It's like maybe your schools just stink, right? One of the reasons, again, I'm recording this on November the 9th, so we just had an election. Maybe one of the reasons why Kamala Harris lost is because she just was a bad candidate. It could be it. And it's not because of any other reason. The platform didn't work. You know, Democrats, you have a platform. It didn't work. It's not because she's a woman and she's this and she's that. She could be a bad, so it's, you know, you say the relief funds are part of the reason. Maybe your schools just aren't that good. So 11 of the district's 121 schools will be closed or merged with other locations, according to a preliminary list released late Tuesday. Again, this article is October the 9th. The district, which has already slashed its payroll and reduced funding for school supplies, said the list would be finalized next month, which is this month, and then go to a vote by the school board. Without a balanced budget and plan to consolidate our resources, we risk a state takeover of our school district, Superintendent Matt Wayne said in a statement. That would, quote, further deplete resources directed to our schools, erode our collective decision-making power, and likely compound educational disparities for most of our vulnerable students. So here's the deal, one more time. Not to bemoan the fact that you know, again, whatever the fact was, what I'm saying to you right now is maybe your schools just aren't really doing that good of a job. And that's why do you think that people are maybe leaving your schools? Now, I don't know. I haven't done, I'm just reading the article here. And I'm verbal processing the article. Why are we going to have to cut schools? 10% of schools, it seems like a lot. 1 out of every 10 schools you're going to have to close. Whew, my goodness gracious. 11 of the district's 121 schools will be closed or merged with other locations, according to a preliminary released Tuesday. The district, which has already slashed its payroll, I don't get it. Wow. Well, I will say, it does say declining enrollment. People are moving out of San Francisco, man. They don't want to be in that dystopian city. And I hope that San Francisco, they have a new mayor. They just elected a new mayor. I think he's from the Levi family, Strauss family. We'll see how he does. I mean, he's also a Democrat. He's liberal, but maybe he's going to have also common sense come to the liberals and say, you just can't run a city like this anymore. People are leaving. Sorry. All right, so Marxification of Education, Paulo Freire's Critical Marxism, and the Theft of Education by James Lindsay. Now, I don't read word for word because I don't want Dr. Lindsay to come over and sue me, but I am going to read parts of the prologue, all right? And we'll go from there. What's going on here? Parents deserve to know. Our children deserve far better than this. Our nation and its future depend on correcting it. Well, there's actually a simple answer. The overwhelmingly primary reason 94% of Providence students are failing mathematics and 86% cannot read or write at grade level, but can turn out by the hundreds to a left-wing political demonstration at the Rhode Island State House during school hours is unambiguous once understood. Education has been stolen right out from under us and from our children. This theft of education has a purpose. It enables a counterfeit to replace it. The mechanism and description of this gigantic educational ripoff can be summarized in a single sentence. Our kids go to Paulo Freire's schools. And it goes on from there. Next highlighted part. Dr. Lindsay immediately knew what was going on. The schools in Providence, Rhode Island, are Paulo Freire schools, and Marxist activists posing as teachers and politicians are coordinating to take advantage of the output of that fact to stage a huge political demonstration using Providence children as happy and willing props. In turn, these children are being conscientized as activists for causes useful to Marxist political agenda items. I know this is radical. I've probably lost a lot of people already. Read the book. Read the book. If you're such a devout teacher, don't you want your students to know both sides of a story? Why is this not being presented in colleges? Oh, because it's poppycock, Paul. It's not true. Challenge them then. I'm going to keep reading. As you will see, these students were participating not only in activism, as demanded by Freirean education, but they were also learning to decodify the alleged deeper political circumstances of a school shooting. That is, they were learning to adopt the political framing of the activists posing as their teachers and state representatives. The tragedy in Uvalde was being falsely presented to them as a codification of the actual political circumstances of their own lives in the United States and Rhode Island in 2022. They were learning Freirean political literacy, even while their schools fail them almost completely in actual literacy. This is by design in Freirean school, despite palatable marketing to the contrary. Okay, so then it goes on from there. I don't want to read very much more because I don't want to bore you, because my reading is, it's just reading a book. Learning to read or achieve academically in any subject has always been little more than a palatable, P-A-L-A-T-A-B-L-E, cover for Freire's actual objective, which is raising Marxist political consciousness for the purposes of creating a cultural revolution. All right, and then it says, consider the following 3 remarks from Freire in his significant 1985 book, The Politics of Education, Culture, Power, and Liberation. The first of these is slightly technical, but should be comprehensible enough with a little explanation. And then it talks about codification, the imaging of a significant aspect of a man's existential situation in a slum. The generative word slum is inserted in this codification. The codification functions as the nullable object, mediating between the knowing subjects, which are the educator and the learners, and the act of knowing they achieve in dialogue. What needs to be drawn out from this sample of Freire's text is a theme that occurs over and over again throughout Freire's books, and that theme is the lesson presented by the educator is a mediator of learning. It's not something to be learned in and of itself. It's something that facilitates learning on the terms Freire is setting. In other words, my last sentence for today, in other words, a math lesson is not just a math lesson anymore. It is a mediator to another kind of lesson, which for Freire is a political lesson. Interesting. The math lesson, or any other lesson, merely becomes the vehicle to the political conversation Freire thinks constitutes real education. So one example that he will give is he uses a lot of social emotional learning. Johnny is a son of a single divorced mother who collects welfare. Does anybody in this class collect welfare? Do you know? Are you on welfare? And then we start talking about welfare. We're not talking about math anymore. It's a word problem. She gets $365 for her government check. The food was $300. How much does she have left over from her government check? Do any of you live on welfare? And we start talking about welfare. We're not talking about math anymore. All right, that's just one little example. Hey, thanks a lot for watching. We do have a Venmo account. Stay with me, man. We're gonna have stuff to say. Education needs to be discussed more and more. Okay, God bless you. Thank you for your time. Stay with me. Okay. Thank you. Bye.